Hello all, my name is John,
And I'm Tyler.
and together we are DeLong Rigging Solutions, or DRS for short.
So we're going to tie a fisherman's knot, but before we start tying, let's talk about what it's used for. Typically in the entertainment world, you're going to use a fisherman's knot to tie a Sunday, also referred to as a cinch strap. Sunday is actually a vernacular that no one can tell you where it comes from, but you'll hear that a lot more often than you'll hear the phrase cinch strap. A Sunday is just a loop of rope or cable or web or some other material that's just a loop that you would use for tying a knot, most commonly a prusik knot. One thing to note with Sundays is that you need to make sure you're using appropriate material for whatever kind of load it's going to take. AKA don't use tie line if you're snubbing off a purchase line. Also, a lot of times using a steel Sunday, Sunday made out of steel rope would be better than using a fiber rope if you're putting sandbags on a hemp system. That being said, fisherman's knot is how you would make a Sunday into a fiber rope. You're going to take a piece of rope. This one's about 5 feet long. And you're going to take both ends of it. You're going to take the tails, and you're going to take one tail and tie it around the other just in the overhand knot. Make sure as you tie your overhand knot that your tail is facing away from the other tail. You're then going to take the other tail and you're going to do another overhand knot. Once you've done both these overhand knots, look at them and make sure their tails are going away from each other. You're then going to pull it and cinch it down. And that is a fisherman's knot. Let me do that again for you. One thing to note with the fisherman's knot is that this is definitely a jamming knot. It's not like the bowline or some of the other knots we use. This one, if you put a load on it, it is very possible, even easy, to not be able to get undone. So once again, you've got your two tails. You take them. You're going to do an overhand knot around one of them, or one tail around the other. Pull it kind of tight there. Once again, make sure your tail is going away from where you're about to tie your second one. You tie your second overhand knot using the second tail. Once again, make sure your tail is going away, and then you just cinch it down, and that is a Sunday or a cinch strap. Another common use for these is if you're trying to put a safety on like your C-wrench, which, you know, being a good stagehand, I have a C-wrench in my pocket, but I don't have a safety on. So what I would do to put safety on this is I would get a piece of tie line or smaller rope, something more appropriate for a wrench, and I would tie the fisherman's knot, which, remember, you take your two tails, you take one tail and tie it around the other with an overhand knot, which I am failing at there, but bear with me. Just do your overhand knot, and you make sure that your tail is going away from where you're going to tie the other one. So you take the other tail and tie an overhand knot. When you look at these, you make sure that both your tails are going away from each other. And you pull together and cinch it down for a fisherman's knot. Then to make a safety on your C-wrench, you're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of it through. Then you're going to pull the rest of it through the loop you've created. And you're going to choke it to have a safety. Let me go ahead and tie the fisherman's knot for you one more time, using the bigger rope that's easier to see. Once again, I'm going to untie this, and remember that this is definitely a jamming knot, so it's a little hard to untie it once you've pulled on it. So last time, doing it real slow for you, I'm going to take one tail, I'm going to tie an overhand knot around the other tail. I then will take the other tail and tie another overhand knot. So I've got my two overhand knots. I look to make sure my tails are facing away from each other. I cinch it down, and that is a fisherman's knot. Please remember that DeLong Rigging Solutions one-shot training videos are meant as general overviews. Every system is different. Every venue has different procedures. All statements made make certain assumptions about systems and venue similarities. Nothing can replace on-site training with a qualified individual. If ever you have a question or concern about rigging, do not hesitate to reach out to us or another qualified vendor in your area.